Hey everybody, it's Spencer Pullen here. We're on another photo adventure. Today we're at Highlands Hammock State Park and we're in Sebring, Florida. So if you've seen any of my other videos, we've done a lot near the coastline, like the Lover's Key and Myakka River. That was technically about 10 miles in from the coast. So this particular park, we are pretty much in the dead center of the state of Florida. So landscape's a little bit different. We haven't seen a palm tree in a while, which is kind of refreshing, though there are probably a few around here, but we've seen a lot of live oaks and things like that. So it should be interesting. Today is going to be the first day. I'm going to put the monster tripod in service, so we'll see how that's going to go. I am still waiting for my bag to get here, so I'm going to have to somehow carry this. Probably just throw it over my shoulder and see what happens. The other thing I did have to get, in case any of you run into this, is I did go to Home Depot and get a strap on the end of this. That's what's keeping the end of the legs together, because what I found is you can't turn these little knobs right here while to lock the legs when the legs are together. So that was something else we had to kind of figure out. So just a quick overview. I have the 8x10 Zone 6 as usual. I've got 4 sheets of FP4 Plus. And we'll see what we run into. I've been here in quite a few years, so it'd be interesting to see what exactly, if anything has changed. This used to be what they would call a CCC camp back in the 30s. They built to put people back to work. The government had this something core. I forgot exactly what it stands for, but this was one of the places they actually put in back in the 30s to get people back to work. So it should be interesting. All right, so we'll get going here and see what we can find. All right, so this is our first stop for today. I got all loaded up. Just a couple of things. Some of you have seen my infamous black trash bag that I've had in the past. It had an unfortunate accident. I actually put trash in it. Duh. But I went ahead and got you may not be able to see this, but a silver tarp at Walmart for a whopping $6, and it's 8x10. So that should be nice to lay down, especially we're coming up on July. It's been very, very wet. We just had that tropical storm Cindy go through. So everything is just very, very wet. So hopefully the tarp will kind of keep everything dry. It's supposed to rain this afternoon, so we try to get here early. So therefore we don't, we can try and get out before it starts raining. The mosquitoes are in full force. We just put mosquito spray on with a paint roller because we were trying to cover ourselves pretty good. A couple other things I wanted to mention. I mentioned about the CCC thing, so I actually have the official guide that they give you at the Ranger Stadium. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging on that. And that stands for the Civilian Conservation Corps. And according to their literature, this park opened in 1931. So that's pretty cool. We are going to take the Cypress Swamp Trail, and the reason why we're starting with this one is because it has what's called the catwalk, and this is what I remember seeing years ago. It's only a couple of boards that's put together to get through the hammock, through the water. So this should be interesting. Person my size, we'll see if we can fall in. So it's always good entertainment. The other interesting fact I wanted to mention is, if you got a chance to see the Myakka Island Trail video where we got the dead tree and the pine trees a little while ago, I posted that video on Facebook, and I mentioned I was using the FP4 Plus with the D76 developer, and some people let me know that there was other options that might be the sharper developer to play with. So a lot of them were mentioning this pyro. I thought, hey, anything with pyro, we got to try, right? So I've been spending the past few weeks researching about pyro and how it works, and I've actually bought some Pyro Cat HD, and it works with a rotary system, which I'm going to be using. So I got that from the photographer's formulary in Montana, and I think there's a place you can get it in. If you're watching this in Europe, I think it's Lotus camera, possibly. Don't quote me on that, but I'm sure you can find it over there. So yeah, so we'll see how that works. This will be the first negatives that I'm going to develop in it. I am going to follow Sandy King's directions as far as a divided PyroCat where you put part A in and then you run that for a while and you dump that out and put part B in. And the reason for that is my output right now is a scanner. So these would definitely gives a more of a flat negative, so it'll be easy to scan, and then I can always put the contrast in later in Photoshop. So until I get an official darkroom, this is what's going to work for me. So all right, so we're going to venture out and see what we can find here, and hopefully we see some wildlife, and other than mosquitoes, they get the size of hummingbirds this time of year. So yeah, so all right, here we go. All right, so we found our first scene. This looks pretty amazing. Last time I was here, there was not this much water here, but again, we just had that tropical storm Cindy go through, so I'm sure that contributed a lot to the water, because we were actually in a drought situation, probably like most of the country. So this kind of helped make up for it. So I really like the reflections here. There's not a lot of moving water, so I thought this would be a great place to try and get if you want to call it like a Clyde Butcher shot, if you heard of him, without actually getting, you know, chest deep in the water or neck deep. He gets pretty deep sometimes. So I went ahead and set up the camera here. So you can see you got the 8x10 set up, and on the new tripod, I'm still figuring out the best way to work with that. It is heavy, but I'll tell you, now that I got it set up and I'm working with it, it is solid as a rock. So I'm really glad we got it for stability. I went ahead and got my composition. I did use the viewfinder app that's on the phone, the Artist Viewfinder app, to kind of get my rough composition. And I haven't even metered the scene yet, so I went ahead and saved that for when we do this. So again, I'm using the Sekonic. This is a 758 DR. You don't need anything. I've had this quite a while. If I was going to buy a spot meter, I'd probably get the 508 version, which is much cheaper than this one. So again, FP4 plus. So what I'm going to do is, with this Pyro developer, they say you can get full film speed out of it, so I'm going to shoot at 125, which is what I usually do anyway. I'll be at f64. So let's just see what our shadows are metering are at. As I've been standing here setting everything up, the sun's been going in and out, which can be an issue sometimes. But you know, it's nice to have blue skies, so that's going to raise our contrast level, of course. So this can be a high dynamic range shot, and that is what I've been told this PyroCat is really good as, for high dynamic ranges, to help try to keep your highlights, as well as, you know, if you're doing like N-1 or N-2 developing. So all right, let's just see what our shadows are. So I'm actually going to shoot down here in this bottom part where the very, very dark water line of the cypress trees are. So I'm going to go for that and see what we get. Okay, so it's telling me 1 minute at f64. Let's just take a couple of other readings. The sun just went behind a cloud. So now it says 2 minutes. So let's see what else we got here. See if our light is still. It's actually holding steady right now at 2 minutes. So I will have to check. Let's see. This rings a bell. That's going to be long, because I think 1 minute is like 7 minutes or something like that with the. So I'm going to check the reciprocity timer, and at 1 minute it's 6 minutes 49 seconds, and at 2 minutes it goes up to 19 minutes and 54 seconds. So that's the good news is we're on a solid platform. There's nobody out here but us. A friend of mine's with me, and she's shooting some birds and things. So I'll have to kind of keep an eye on the sky Looks like we're back into a blue, the blue sky's back out, not the clouds. So if I re-meter the scene, so we gained a stop. So I'm basically back at 1 minute. Yep. So that's what it's looking like. Is 1 minute is going to be the one I'm going to go for, which we said was I believe 6 minutes and 49 seconds. So I'll just kind of keep an eye on the sky and look for a nice big patch of blue, and then we will get that ready to go here, and we'll see what we see. Okay, I'm not sure how this is going to come out in the video. I'm going to try and make it as dark as possible. Basically, this is what I'm seeing. It's upside down and backwards. So yeah, this is our composition. So I try to put the shadow, the water line it'll be at one of the third marks. So we'll try and get the majority of the photo will be the trees obviously out of the water. And something I'll probably end up doing is putting some front tilt on the lens to help get some of the, some of the water in the front somewhat sharp. But again, it is moving, so I'm not too terribly worried about that. Alright, so we got the one shot. She looks pretty good. We'll find out. Obviously, you guys will see probably, before I do this video actually. So we'll see how this new Pyro developer works. It sounds very promising, so anything to make the work better, that's what I say. So again, if you get a chance and you're down here if I had to guess, about an hour south of Orlando. I looked on the map. So we're at the Highlands Hammock State Park. It's $4 for one person, or for a carload from 2 to 8 was 6, but then the ranger just told us that I guess there's some kind of tax now, so it's $6.03. So it's still a very good, and if you got family coming down and want to take them out somewhere, it's very well upkept. Something on the mosquitoes we found out. We used the level 1 mosquito repellent when we got started, and we got 10 feet in here, and it's the level 1 mosquito repellent didn't work. So then we pulled out the nuclear mosquito repellent. So probably have a third eye starting right here pretty soon. But actually it's the 40% DEET Outdoorsman is what we put on, and that's actually keeping the mosquitoes away. So it's very comfortable to work. We're coming up on July. It's warm, but it's actually not bad because of the canopy. It's keeping us pretty cool, and once in a while there's a little bit of a breeze through here. So yeah, so I appreciate you coming along with me. If you like this content, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.